Assalamu alaikum everyone again. So today we have a new lesson. It's called 2.4 Represent Rational Numbers on Coordinate Planes. So let's start with today's learning intention. You're going guys to graph ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. The most important vocab words that you guys should be aware of in this lesson is what's the meaning, what's a coordinate plane, origin, quadrant, ordered pair, x-axis, and y-axis. Okay, guys, let's move on. So as you can see here, we have two number lines from where the word coordinate plane came. Basically, coordinate plane is a plane that's made up of two number lines, as you can see. One is horizontal, we call it the x-axis, and one is vertical, we call it the y-axis. So basically, coordinate plane is made up of two number lines, one vertical and one horizontal. We call them x-axis and y-axis. Okay, so the thing that you should know is that this plane is divided, it's cut into four quadrants, okay? Four quadrants, like four quarters, but we say it quadrant, Latin word. So the first one, this part here, we call it quadrant 1. We call it, as you can see, quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. As you can see, these numbers are Latin numbers, okay? So this is how you guys say them. This is how it's supposed to be written. And instead, we don't write 1, we write quadrant 1. We don't write 2, we write quadrant 2. We do not write 3, we write quadrant 3. We do not write 4, we write it like this, IV. Okay, guys, I hope it's clear. These numbers, again, are Latin numbers. Okay, so let's identify also the other parts of the coordinate plane. So like we said, coordinate plane is made up of two number lines, x-axis, y-axis. And the point in the middle where they intersect, we call it an origin. Now the coordinates for the origin is 0, 0. Okay, what do we mean by coordinates? Now each ordered pair, the point that you guys are graphing, whether it was 0, 0, whether it was 1, 2, whether it was -3 and 4, all these points are called ordered pairs. We call them ordered pairs. So basically, an ordered pair it has two parts. The first part, we call it the x coordinate. The second part is called the y coordinate. Okay? So again, an ordered pair is made up of two parts, x coordinate and y coordinate. Okay, so let's see in this lesson, how are we going to graph ordered pairs on the coordinate plane? It's an old topic that you guys studied in grade 5. So let's move on. For example, here we want to graph the point -1 and 2. It's very simple. We are going to apply the steps. We start from the origin, okay? Then you run on the x-axis. This is, you guys, the x-axis. And this is, as you can see here, the y-axis. So we start from the origin, that's your origin 0, 0. Then you run and then you jump. Okay, you run to the right or to the left according whether your x is positive or negative, and then you jump up or down according whether your y coordinate is positive or negative. So let's start with this point -1 and 2. The easiest way, guys, to do it is mark on top of it. This is x and that's y. Okay, so now you know that from 0, you're going to be heading to the left direction one step. Okay, why? Because the x coordinate is -1. So from the origin, I will move to the left one step. Then the y coordinate is 2. That means I should move upward 2 steps. And that's my point. Okay, guys? So let's erase the other parts so we don't confuse them, we don't mix them up. And that is here point B. We will call this point B. Again, the steps are very simple. You guys run to the right or to the left according to your x coordinate, and then you make your jump up or down according to your y coordinate, whether it's positive or negative. Now here, in which quadrant, another question we will be asking you is which quadrant this point is located. As you can see, it's located in quadrant 2. And that's it. That's the lesson for so far. Okay, that's the first part of the lesson. Let's move on to more examples. So here is a direct practice for graphing ordered pairs on the number line, on the coordinate plane. Write the ordered pair for each point and identify the quadrant in which each point is found in the space provided. So we have here a coordinate plane. You're given various different types of numbers. Your job is to write the ordered pair for each point. Please, guys, when you write the ordered pair, make sure you put parentheses, you put a comma to separate the x and the y. In each one, you're supposed to put parentheses and comma. Okay, so we have two parts of the question. You're going to write the ordered pair and then you will identify the quadrant. Again, you are going to write the ordered pair and then you will be identifying the quadrant. So let's start with point A. Here's, so you go to the coordinate plane, you find point A, that's my point. Now, I'm going to see my point A is located at which axis, what's the x coordinate for point A, and what's my y coordinate. So the easiest way to do it, guys, is for you to draw a line. Draw a line connecting A to the x-axis and draw a line connecting A to the y-axis. So as you can see here, in order to get to A, I will start moving from 0. I went to the left, how many steps? -9, so that's my x. And then I move upward, how many steps? +3. So the ordered pair for point A is -9 and 3, okay? In this case, you guys, you don't need to start at 0 and run. In this case, you just can simply draw a line that connects on the A with x-axis and a line that connects A with y-axis. Then directly you're gonna know your number. It's this one and this one. That's it. Let's try one more example. Okay, let's go now to point E. Now here is my location for point E. I'm gonna check E. I will connect it with x. That is again the x-axis and that's the y-axis. So my x will be, as you can see, -4. And my y will be, when you connect it to the y-axis, it's gonna be -5. That's it. Let's go to point H. Again, you draw parentheses, between them a comma, to separate the x coordinate from the y coordinate. Okay, that's my point H. I'll connect it to the x. So my x will be 9. As you can see, my x is 9. Then I will connect it to the y. As you can see, my y will be -4. So +9 and -4. Okay, I hope it's clear how to graph, how to write the ordered pair for each point on the coordinate plane. Let's try J. Then, guys, I will leave the rest for you to practice on your own. Okay, so that's point J. I'll draw a line to connect it with the x-axis and a line to connect it with the y-axis. So as you can see here, the x-axis is -8 and the y-axis is -6. That's it. So that's the first part of the lesson, identifying the ordered pair for each given point. Now, we forgot the second part, which is which quadrant is each point located? As you can see, point A. So the easiest way to do it is number your quadrants, guys. So this is quadrant 1. That is quadrant 2. And that's quadrant 3. And that's IV quadrant 4. Okay, again, we use Latin numbers. So as you can see, A is located in quadrant 2. K is located in quadrant I1, quadrant 1. E is located in quadrant 3. quadrant 3, and so on. Sorry, here I wrote to you guys 2, but it's not supposed to be 2 written like that. You're supposed to write it like that, quadrant 2, okay, or quadrant 2, like that. It's not question 11, it's quadrant 2, okay guys? So because I don't want to write the whole word, so just write quad. You can write quad like that. Yeah, anything that suits you. So I hope it's clear. Guys, regarding how to write the ordered pair for any given point on the graph and how to identify the quadrant. Now let's get to more challenging questions. Let's start with this one. So this question is really important. It's a question taken from your book. So please solve it over and over again. So here you're supposed to graph point A. So now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to graph. Okay, they're asking us to graph the point on the coordinate plane. In this question, the points were given to you. They're asking you to write the ordered pair for each one. But in this part, you're supposed to graph it. So here you start at 0. You start moving from your origin. Your origin in life is your house. We discussed that in the class. From where you start moving every single day from your home. That's your origin. From your home, you move to your school, you go to the mall, and so on. Then you get back to your house again. So think of the origin as your own house. Okay, guys, so that will be 0 and 0. You need to know origin represents what point. This is very important. Origin is 0 and 0. So -4. -4, I'm going to run to the left. Why? Because it says x is -4. So I'm going to run here, -4. Then it's telling me to move, the y is 1. So that's x, that's y. Put again on top of each the coordinate, the right coordinate, so you will know on which axis to start moving first. Because many of you will start at 1, then go to -4. That's wrong. Okay, guys? So please be accurate. Make sure to mark, to label each one as x and y. Let's move on. So -4, from -4, from the point, I'm going to go 1 step. So as you can see here, I've reached here, but that's a 2. So where's the 1? I'm confused. Now, as you can see, guys, that this point is 0, and that point, it jumps directly to 2. So by common sense, we can tell that what number comes between 0 and 2, that will be 1. Okay, so in this lesson, the idea of this lesson is that they're not giving you the coordinate plane in detail, just like this question I showed you. Look, all the numbers are here. No, they're not doing that. They're skip counting here in this case by 2 or by 3 or even by decimals and fractions. Okay, so we're gonna study each case separately. Okay, so that's my point. I'm gonna stop here. Okay, guys, so that will be my point. So you mark it, you label it, point A. So please draw the dot and the letter next to it. You have to show the letter. And then you can erase these lines. No need for them. They were just guiding lines to help you get to point A. So this is the final answer that we want from you guys. Just like point B, do you see it? You need to write the point and the letter. That's it. Let's move on now to another point, point B. This is X, and that's my Y. So B, I'm gonna start from 0. I'll move to 4 because X is 4 steps to the right, and then I'm gonna go up 3 steps. Again, we don't have a 3, so I can count 1 by 1. That's 1, 2, and 3. My point will be here because between 2 and 4, I have the number 3 comes in between. Okay, so I will label this point as point B. Point B. Yeah, and that's it. Now, let's move on to point C. Now, C, again, I'm going to label X, Y. I will start at 0. Now, It says that x is 0. Did you guys run anywhere on the x-axis? X is 0, that means you did not run to the right or to the left. You stayed in your spot. You stayed in your position. Now from your position, you went down -2. Okay, guys? You went down 2 steps. You moved below 2 steps. That will be your point. Point C is located here. Okay? So again, remember, x or y could be zeros. That means you did not move on the x-axis if x is 0, and you just directly move on the y-axis. If the point is positive, you go up. If the point is negative, you move down. And that's it. That's point C. Okay? Yeah. So that's it for question part 5, 6, 7. Let's go move on now to to question 8, where they're telling you what ordered pair represents point P. So all you have to do here is just write the ordered pair. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. I have point P. Again, if you want to write it, you should make 2 lines. 1 line. Let me erase this to make my work more clear. Okay. You should connect 1 line. Draw a line that connects point P with the x-axis. So what's the x here? X is going to be 2, 3. So that means x is 3, because between 2 and 4 we have the number 3 comes in between. And then the y will be, as you can see, it's clear, that will be -2. So this is the ordered pair for point P, guys. Okay? So in this lesson, again, I repeat, you're requested to do 3 things. Graph on the coordinate plane. Write the ordered pair for the given points. And number 3, identify the quadrant. Identify the quadrant if they're asking you. Okay, let's move on here. This is a really important question. You guys also should solve in your book. Okay. It's about write the ordered pair for each point. But in this case, you guys, in this case, the numbers, unfortunately, are not going to be whole numbers. You will be moving to dealing with fractions, but that's okay. We can manage. Okay, so let's start with point P. Okay, as you can see, point P is here. I'm going to connect it to the x-axis, and I'll connect it to the y-axis. So what will be my x? Okay, let's start counting. I have 0, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. What comes after? That will be -8. So as you can see here, we're skip counting. We left 2 blocks. We are moving 2 steps away. Okay, let's see why we left 2 blocks as a distance. So my x will be -8. And now let's go up. How many steps we're going to go up? That is 1, 2, and 3. It's very clear that you guys stopped at 3. The y coordinate will be 3. That's it. Okay? Let's move on. Okay. Now, let's move on to point Q. As you can see, Q is in quadrant 4. So we're going to draw a line that connects Q with x-axis. The point will be 5. And for the y, the point will be -3. So this one was a quick and direct question. The numbers are there. You just copy paste them. Now let's move on to point R. R is exactly located on the x-axis. See where is it located? As you can see that R is connected to the x-axis. It didn't move any steps to the right or to the left. So R basically stayed in the position. Oh no, I mean R moved to the left. Sorry guys. What is R on the x-axis? That will be what? -8. So as you can see, R is -8 steps away from 0 to the left. Okay, is 8 steps away from 0 to the left direction. Okay, what about the y? See, you guys could easily make a mistake. Even I made the mistake. I didn't notice that which axis r did not move on. R didn't move anywhere on the y-axis. R basically stayed on the x-axis. So that means because R did not move anywhere above or below the y-axis, it stayed in its place, the y will be 0. Okay? So please pay attention to this one. R, the x-coordinate is -8 because it's 8 steps to the left away from 0. And 0, the y is 0 because it did not move anywhere above or below on the y-axis. It stayed on the x-axis. Okay, so please be careful to this one. Now let's go here to point S. As you can see, here is S. That's the x. So the x is neither -2 nor -3. So what does that mean? What can we conclude? What will be the x coordinate for point S? So as you can see, you have, guys, you should be aware, just like lesson 2.2, how to represent rational numbers on the number line. You need to be very accurate. You need to tell which number comes between -2 and -3. Like we have here -1, -2, and then -3. What number comes between -2 and -3? How is this point related to both of them? It's the half of it. Okay, so this point will be, this is -2, this point will be -2.5. Or you can write it as -2.5. Feel free to write it as a fraction, as a mixed number, or as a decimal. You can write it in any way you want. So let's write it. This will be -2.5. And for the y coordinate, it's going to be what? Look, again, is it a whole number? No. The point here is located between 0 and -1. So what decimal comes between 0 and -1? As you can see, it's half the distance. So that will be -0.5. So you can write it as -2.5, or you can write it as -half. That will be point S. Okay, you can write it as a decimal or as mixed numbers and fractions. Okay, guys. So that's it for graphing points on the coordinate plane with fractional parts or decimal parts. Okay? But most probably we're going to be like focusing more. Please focus more on graphing whole numbers. Now, let's solve real life examples related to this lesson. Now, we have a real life application here that is a direct and simple question. Which building is located in quadrant 3? So they want, this is the first quadrant. My advice to you, mark it on the question itself if you have it in a quiz or anything, or the book page itself. This is a quadrant 2, that's a quadrant 3, and that's a quadrant 4. So which one is located in quadrant 3? As you can see, it's only one building we have here. That's the firehouse. Okay, so which one is it? That will be the firehouse. Now, which two places have the same x coordinate? Okay, let's look on the x-axis. Check one by one. Here, what's the x-axis for this point? For the firehouse, that's -8. Okay, let's move on to quadrant 1. Obviously, we have here 3 buildings, so let's see which ones have the same axis. What's the x here for school? That will be 4. Let's move on to the swimming pool. What's the x for the swimming pool? That will be 12. What's the x for the clubhouse? Oh, that will be 12 too. So obviously, which two buildings they have the same x-axis? That will be clubhouse and swimming pool. Okay, which building is in quadrant 3? That will be the firehouse. Okay, so again, you go to building by building and you check their x coordinate. start checking from quadrant 1. That will be easier for you. Now, this is a really nice question. It's really important, you guys. You are at the market square. They're telling you that the market square is located at 0, 0. The market square is located here. Now, your job is you want to get to the doctor's office. You want to get here. How are you going to do this? Following the grid lines. So here what we want from you is to tell us, explain to us how you got to the doctor's office, how you're planning to get there. So you need to tell me, I will move, like let's see how many steps you're gonna move. This is here we have between 2 and 4, we got 3. I will move 3 units to the right. Again, I will move 3 units to the right, then 5 units below. Again, this is how you should write it. Move 3 units or steps, but I prefer, let's use, guys, the word units. 3 units to the right, then 5 units down. You can complete it to the right on the x-axis and 5 units down on the y-axis. So my coordinate, my ordered pair will be 3 and -5, as you can see. It's a 3 and -5. But here they're not telling you write the ordered pair. They're telling you describe. So you need to tell them how many steps you're going to be moving to the right or to the left, then how many steps you will be moving up and below the on the y-axis. Okay, this is how you're supposed to solve this question, guys. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so this is here again similar to task 1 question where you have, guys, decimals. Okay, as you can see here, look at the whole numbers. The interval, the distance between 0 and -1, as you can see, it's cut into 4 equal parts. So that means this one will be 1/4, this one will be 2/4, this one will be 3/4, and this one will be 1/4 or 4/4, okay? So how can you tell? We can easily tell from the numbers because they're giving us, look at the denominator, it's 4. The denominator is 2. So we know that half is the same as 2/4. We know by looking at the coordinate plane itself that the interval between each 2 whole numbers, it's cut into how many equal parts? It's cut into 4 equal parts. So we can use this as an advantage. Okay, guys? Let's start graphing point A. Point A, the x is 3/4 and the y is -1.5. So point A, 3/4. 3/4, that means you're gonna be moving to the right. That's your 3/4. And then -1.5, that means you're gonna be moving down. So that's -1, -1.5, it will be in the middle. Okay, you guys? This is -1, -2, and -1.5, that will be in the middle. So that's your point A. Okay, let's move on to the second one. This is the same as -2 and 3/4, comma, -2 and 1/4. Okay, we studied in previous videos that you should know we have some famous decimals. You guys should be aware of their fraction. For example, 0.25, it's the same as 1/4. 0.5 or 50, it's the same as a half, which is equal to 2/4. And finally, 0.75, it's the famous one, 3/4. Okay, guys? So these famous decimals and fractions that they're repeated a lot in many lessons, as you've seen in the previous lessons. Okay, so that will be -2 and 3/4. So that means we're going to be moving to the left because it's -2 and 3/4. So let's start moving one by one. There you go. I reached -1. I'm sorry, but I need to move on until -2. I'm sorry, we're not done yet. You need to move on until -2 and 3/4. That will be 1/4, -2 and 1/4. negative 2 and 2 quarters, negative 2 and 3 quarters. And that will be your x. Now, from the x, I should move below to negative 2 and 1 quarter. So let's start moving. That's your negative 1. Still not there. Negative 2. Still not there. So close, but... And I can know that negative 1 and 1 quarter, negative 2 and 1 quarter will be here. So that is, you guys, my point. Okay? That's my point. I went from here to here. That will be my point. Point B. So you are going to name it point B. Okay? Then you can delete those lines. You can delete those lines that helped you get to the point. Okay, let's move on. We have C, 0 and 2 quarters. As you can see, 0, that means the x is 0. You haven't moved anywhere on the x-axis. You did not move to the right or to the left. Directly, what did you do, you guys? You jumped to 2 and 1 quarter. So let's jump. That's 1. That's 2. And I want 1 quarter. That will be my point. Okay? Let me erase all of this. Okay. So that is going to be my point. 2 and 1 quarter. That is point C. Okay, that's point C. Point D, I will leave it, guys, for you. Try to do it yourself. Okay. So here also, I will leave this question for you. What are the coordinates? They're asking you for the ordered pair for the playground and the pond. Follow the dots. For the playground, as you can see here, we put a dot. Do not follow the building. Follow the point itself. Okay, guys? Follow the points. They're more accurate and more clear. And which quadrant? Okay, so that's it for this lesson. I will leave the rest of the questions for you to practice on your own using your math book, inshallah. So we've covered today how to write the ordered pair for a given point on the coordinate plane. We've covered also how to graph each point on the coordinate plane. Number 3, we've covered how to identify each point is located in which quadrant. And finally, we've solved some real-life applications related to representing points, rational numbers on the coordinate plane. So that's it for today, guys. See ya when I see ya.